So the Standstills. So we mentioned new album Shockwave is out November 4th. You're playing bass all over this album. You are the bass player on the album. Two singles have been released. So there's a Pretty Little Broken Thing. There's Get Right. Both of them are awesome. I want to start with a quote. So we have a quote here from Johnny Fox from the Standstills. So
Beautiful. Love me some Johnny.
Johnny says, Chuck is someone that I got to know on tour, but I never really knew him until I got to hear how he was a creator. His contribution to our album was above and beyond, and I feel that is who he strives to be as a person. I will forever be grateful for his contribution to our new album, but more importantly, I got to know him as a friend. From Johnny of the Standstills.
Yeah, I love them so much. They're such a sweet pair. Um, and their drive was something that I couldn't match for them. I couldn't line myself up with what they were doing. The musically, yes, absolutely. It was like one of the best musical experiences I've ever had in my life. And I'm so excited for that record to come out. That was when I got to work with Neil from 3 Days Grace and Jill Zimmerman, and who engineered that, and then Howard Benson mixed that, and it's mind blowing. And
that's like the dream team, those three.
With the Standstills, be you, just go for it. And they had all these ideas for the record, but when I started playing, they would, I did a lot of work prior to going in the studio, so I was ready to just bang off the whole record in a day when I showed up to the studio. But I would send them ideas, and then Johnny would say, play more, but not much more than that. Just play more, just do more you, right? And so it was a beautiful opportunity to play and to create and to do some interesting things. Get Right is my favorite one on there, and that's already been released. Because I took some heavy freedoms with that. And they never got a chance to hear it because they wrote that later on. I didn't have a chance to send them a pre-demo of what I thought I might play on it for them to approve and change and produce. And I just did it. I said, I'm going to play something that I think is great. And so there's like a big chorus that happens before the bridge, and I wish it happened over and over again in the song, but it only ever happens once. And they were playing one note. It was one big chord, da da wah, da 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 wah, and I turned it into a big long chord progression. And I'm playing all these nines, and it ended up sounding like Mute Math or Deftones or something like that. And was like, this is amazing. And I played it, and I was worried. And Neil came in and was like, oh my, that's the part. And so, yeah, it's been really special. I'm really excited for that to come out. It's been really hard to not be touring with that band, because like I said, my schedule and my life just started to not line up with what they were doing as much as I wanted to do it. It was part of the reason that I left I Mother Earth, was to be able to tour on the schedule that Standstills are about to jump on. Which is that, like, you have to go for it to get what they're after, which is playing 300 plus shows a year, likely.
And big, some of them are big arena shows with 3 Days
Some are
Grace,
big,
right?
yeah. We had all of the 3 Days Grace stuff booked before I left the band, and that was so crazy for me, because as a kid, it's like, that's my dream. Like I said, I adore Neil Sanderson, and I adore their new record. It's some of the new 3 Days Grace record is one of the best produced albums I've ever heard, ever. I like it, the sound of it. I'd love to see it live every single day for a year, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I knew I wasn't going to be able to give them what they needed. So I had to find a way to piece out of touring, which was very hard on them as well. But I know they were being careful, which is why I'm not a prominent figure in the video for Pretty Little Broken Thing, because
But you are in it.
it was still a maybe for me. And so they wanted to have a bass player in there because they were introducing bass as part of their band. Because boy, does it make a difference with those guys. It's amazing, the power trio that they are now. So I'm in the background, but I'm so happy I got to be part of that, because it was so fun to be in a rock video at my age. And then and the day that I told them I couldn't do it anymore, I was having some health reasons. I got in a bad car accident. It seemed like the universe was telling me not to do it. But the same day I quit was the same day that they got Brendan into the band. Like I told them I couldn't do it. They called Brendan immediately. He said, yes, yes, I'll do this.
And a connection there with Brendan is he was in My Darkest Days,
Yeah.
and the singer of My Darkest Days is now the singer of 3 Days Grace, right? Matt?
Yeah, it's amazing, right? And Brendan, it's funny. I felt like I was trying to fit in. Like musically, I fit in with those guys. Like the things I was able to add to their record, I really understood what they were writing. Um, but live wise, and they would say this too. I'm always trying to figure out how to match them because they were different than me, right? I'm like a skater dude, and they're more
Western cowboy,
they have that
cowgirl,
vibe a bit, right? They're way
edge,
more rock
Queens
and
of the
roll than
Stone
I'll ever
Age.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Renee's a star, man. She's a rock star, and for me, it was intimidating. To like, how am I gonna fit in with this, right? And I figured it out. And by the last show, I think I really figured it out. Like the very last one, where I'm like, okay, I know how to do this now. And so I gave it 1,000%, knowing it was my last time. But yeah, what a force! And Brendan is a monster bass player. He's a way better bass player than I am. So it's really cool to that they found him. He's a bass player one, like number one. Um, Whereas I was a guitar player playing bass. And so they've got a real bass player in the band now. He was pulled from, he also plays in the classic rock lives stuff, which tells you his playing ability is just like off the charts, right? But what I was getting at with the way that I looked is that when I saw Brendan with them, I'm like, oh my God, he's like them. He's like that image that is My Darkest Days and 3 Days Grace and how cool all of those people look. I was like, oh my God, they found their rock star, right? They've got their rock, like it's a band of rock stars now. Look at this. This is amazing. So I think it's all working out in the way it's supposed to work out. Um, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm going to get an opportunity to play stadium shows with like that again, right? So to walk away is like, wow, what have I done, right? So,
You
but it was the right
gotta,
thing to do. Yeah,
yeah, you made the right decision at the right time with
I hope they feel
where
that way
where
too. Yeah,
where your life was. I
yeah,
so I came out on that tour and I saw you guys in Kingston,
yes.
and you're talking about, those guys are rock stars. So I'm right up front and I start taking a video of Renee playing drums, and she's such a rock star that like I'm taking it from the side, so she's playing and somehow she knows I'm filming, and she just kind of turns and does like she does something.
Yeah,
She
right.
just knows. Like she gave me the perfect,
He's as cool as it
TikTok,
gets, man.
the perfect TikTok like 15-second video. So yeah,
Oh,
that
they're the real deal. They're kind of as cool as it gets. They're rock stars just waiting to explode, right? And Neil knows it. Everybody that's working with them knows it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna
yeah.
happen.
You said to me that your bass playing on that album, you felt like that's the best bass playing you've done on a
I think
record. Is
so.
that because of the freedom? Like,
It's the freedom. It's the time that I spent learning with I Mother Earth. Um, it was working with Neil and Jill and Johnny and Renee. Um, if people are encouraging you play better, you're always going to play better when people are positive. And those guys were so incredibly positive. Even when they didn't like what I was playing, they're classy enough to precede it with a compliment before they tell me they don't like it. Right. So it's, they're just very, very easy to work with rather than some people will be like, that sucks. Or tonight was terrible. Right. Like, they weren't, and that makes it harder to play. So yeah, I think their encouragement plus the years of really learning how to um, play over rock songs like that with some others, right? Learning how Jag does it and sort of taking that, right, and going with it. So